All right, welcome everyone. Today we're going to be diving into kind of a fascinating area, I think, baby products and e-commerce.
Oh, yeah.
It's an industry that's actually a really interesting indicator of what's happening with the economy and how consumers are behaving.
Huh.
So we're focusing specifically on the Q2 FY25 financial performance of Brainbees Solutions Ltd.
Okay.
And they are the parent company of FirstCry. Now, to give you guys the full picture, we're looking at both their official financial reports and their investor presentation.
Wow, very thorough.
Yeah, gotta be. So we're going to see the cold, hard numbers, but also get a sense of how the company itself is spinning things.
I like it. Gives us both sides of the story.
Exactly.
So, Brainbees Solutions Ltd. The name might not ring a bell for everyone,
Yeah.
but their brand, FirstCry. Especially if you're a parent, you've probably heard of them.
Oh, yeah. I mean, FirstCry is huge GE. I was looking at this. It's actually the largest brand for baby and kids products in the entire Asia-Pacific region, well, except for China.
That's massive. And they're not just online, right?
No, not at all. It's a really interesting strategy they have going on. So they've got 11,124 physical stores. And then on top of that,
Wow.
they've even got their own exclusive Baby Hug brand stores.
Oh, interesting. Like stores just for baby hug products.
Yep. It really shows you how they're trying to cater to every way parents shop.
Right. Because you might be researching online, but then you want to actually see the stroller or, touch the fabric of the clothes, especially for babies.
Exactly. And it seems to be working because their revenue this quarter is up a whopping 26% from last year.
Really?
Oh.
26%.
Pretty impressive, right?
Yeah, that is. Especially when you consider they had some serious setbacks. Remember those warehouse fires in India?
Oh, right.
And then major floods in the UAE, where they also operate. They even had to file insurance claims.
Yeah, I remember reading about that. Talk about resilience.
Mm.
To still have that kind of growth despite those challenges.
Definitely speaks to their ability to bounce back.
Okay, so let's dig into the numbers a bit. Their consolidated revenue hit INR 19,049 million.
Oh.
Adjusted EBITDA, which basically gives you a sense of their operating profitability, jumped a massive 66% to INR 801 million.
Whoa. Okay.
And then, hold on, their cash profit after tax, or PAT, more than tripled, reaching INR 279 million.
Now, PT, for those who aren't financial whizzes, that basically means the actual cash profit they took home after everything, expenses, taxes, the whole shebang.
Right, exactly.
So these numbers, they're not just about growth. They're telling us that Brainbees is getting more efficient. Like they're turning more of their revenue into actual profit. That's huge.
Yeah, for sure. So where's all this growth coming from? Well, their investor presentation breaks it down nicely by segment. And no surprise here, their India multi-channel segment is the star of the show.
Yeah, I was going to say that makes sense. India is their home turf.
Exactly. 19% revenue growth there and a 38% increase in profitability. It shows you the power of that FirstCry brand in India.
Yeah, absolutely. And how about their international segment?
Well, even with those floods in the UAE, they're recovering pretty nicely. Revenue's up 25% this quarter.
25%. That's great considering. And what about their profitability there?
Improving, too, which is a good sign.
Okay, good, good. And then there's Global Bees, right? Their D2C brand aggregator.
Oh, yeah. Global Bees. Now, quick explainer for anyone who's not familiar. A D2C brand aggregator, they basically buy up promising brands that sell directly to consumers online and then help them grow bigger.
Ah, okay. Like a brand incubator, but they acquire existing brands instead of starting from scratch.
Exactly. And Global Bees is really emerging as a key player for them.
Interesting. So how are they doing?
Well, they're seeing 55% revenue growth, and more importantly, their profitability is improving significantly.
That's huge. So Brainbees isn't just about, physical stores and FirstCry in India. They're diversifying, spreading their wings.
Yeah, smart move. It's like they're not putting all their eggs in one basket,
Makes sense. Spreads the risk. So each segment contributes to the overall success. Flipping through their investor presentation, one thing that jumps out is how they emphasize being the biggest brand for baby and kids products in the Asia-Pacific region. Well, excluding China, of course.
Right. And it's not just about having the widest range of products. They're also the biggest in India by GMV.
GMV.
Gross merchandise value. Basically, it's the total value of everything sold through their platform, so it really shows how much they dominate the market.
Makes their strategy of expanding their own brand product lines even more interesting.
Yeah, like they found a winning formula and they're like running with it.
Makes sense.
Their Baby Hug brand already has 307 exclusive stores, and they're clearly not done yet. I think it shows they really understand what parents are looking for.
Definitely. And it goes back to that whole multi-channel approach we were talking about.
Yeah.
They're not just betting on one thing.
Right. Online, physical stores, it's all about options, making it easy for parents to shop however they prefer.
You can browse online, compare prices, read reviews, and then pop into a store to actually see the product before you buy.
Exactly. Especially important with baby stuff, I
Oh,
think.
for sure. You want to make sure that stroller folds up right or the fabric feels good.
Totally. So, shifting gears a bit, let's talk about their international expansion. Even with the flood setbacks in the UAE, their revenue's still up 25% this quarter.
Wow, that's really good considering. Shows there's a real demand for what they're offering.
Yeah. And here's something interesting. Their average order value internationally is almost 4 times higher than in India.
Huh. That's fascinating. What do you make of that?
Well, to me, it says they're attracting a more affluent customer base in those international markets.
Right, so it's not just about expanding anywhere. It's about choosing markets where they can, like, command a premium.
Exactly. Strategic expansion. Now let's talk about Global Bees, their D2C brand acquisition play.
Yeah, buying and scaling up these D2C brands, it's a pretty savvy way to get into those niche markets, those emerging trends.
Right. Like they're building a portfolio of brands that can really target specific needs and preferences.
Not just a one-size-fits-all company anymore. And they own a majority stake in Global Bees, right?
Yeah, which means they have a lot of control over its direction.
Shows they're serious about the D2C model, believe in its potential.
Yeah.
But, okay, stepping back from all this, what does the financial success actually mean, practically?
Well, one of the biggest takeaways, for me at least, is profitability. That's what really makes Brainbees stand out.
Right. Their adjusted EBITDA is up a massive 66% this quarter. That's not just growth, that's smart growth.
And their cash profit after tax more than tripled. It's a clear sign they're not just making sales, they're making those sales count.
So how are they pulling that off?
It's a combination of things. Increasing their gross margins, keeping costs in check, and using their size to get good deals with suppliers.
Smart moves.
Plus, they're investing in tech and data science, which will make them even more efficient down the road. They're really thinking ahead.
Yeah, it's not just about being big, it's about building something that will last, laying a solid foundation.
Exactly. It's a good lesson for anyone, really, whether you're a parent shopping for baby stuff or an investor checking out companies.
Brainbees is showing that you can grow fast and still be profitable. Focus on that long-term value. It's a really interesting story, growth, resilience, smart decisions.
For sure. But of course, no business operates in a bubble. What are your thoughts on the potential challenges, the risks Brainbees might face going forward?
That's a great point. Even with all the good stuff, there are definitely things to consider. I mean, the baby and kids market, it's super competitive. New players popping up all the time, both online and in stores.
Yeah, and what parents want is always changing too. Today's hot item could be tomorrow's, old news.
Exactly. Brainbees has to stay ahead of the curve, keep innovating.
And they're operating in multiple countries, each with
Yeah.
its own rules and cultural differences. That adds a whole other layer of complexity.
Right. And then there are things they can't control, like the economy. If there's a downturn, people might cut back on spending, especially on things they don't absolutely need.
True. Baby products could definitely be affected by that, so there's always uncertainty, especially for a company that's growing this fast.
For sure. But what's encouraging is that they seem to be aware of these challenges, like they're not just ignoring them.
Yeah, in their investor presentation, they really emphasize building a strong, resilient business, not just enjoying the current success.
Right, they're getting ready for whatever comes next, investing in tech, expanding their own brands, diversifying with global bees.
It's like they're preparing for battle, ready to face any challenge head on.
I like that analogy. So this
Yeah,
deep dive, it's not just about the numbers, right? It's about understanding the strategy, the vision, the people behind it all,
totally. It's like peeking behind the curtain and seeing how they're making it all happen.
leveraging strengths, taking advantage of opportunities, but also recognizing the risks. It's fascinating.
It really is. They're not just reacting, they're anticipating,
Yeah,
planning for the future. It's a great example of ambition combined with, calculated risk-taking.
totally agree. But with all that said, do you think they can keep this up? Is this growth sustainable in the long run?
That is the big question, isn't it? And it's one we'll explore further in the final part of our deep dive. We'll take a closer look at the overall market, their competition, and see if we can get a sense of what their long-term prospects really look like.
All right, so we've gone through like a ton of information, right? The financials, their expansion plans, all that. But as we wrap up our deep dive into Brainbees Solutions Ltd., I think it's important to zoom out a bit, look at the bigger picture. So where does Brainbees fit in the overall market? And, what does the future hold for them?
Yeah, that's the key question because while they're leading the pack now, especially in India, the global market, it's always changing. New competition pops up and, what parents want is constantly evolving too.
Right. It's a really dynamic market. So how do they not only keep their position, but actually achieve that goal of becoming like a global leader? Well, they've got to stay ahead of the curve, right? Innovation is huge in this market. Baby monitors, strollers, clothes, it's always changing. What's cutting edge today is like old news tomorrow.
Totally. Parents are always looking for that next best thing for their kids. So how is Brainbees actually positioned to keep up with that?
Well, their investments in tech and data science, that's a big clue. They're using data to understand what people want, predict trends, make the shopping experience more personal.
It's like they're trying to see into the future of baby products. But, tech aside, what other strategic moves are they making to really solidify those global ambitions?
Their acquisition strategy, especially with global bees. Buying and scaling up those D2C brands, it's not just about adding more products, it's about reaching new markets, new types of customers.
Makes sense. Diversify, reach a wider audience, but going international, that brings a whole new set of challenges, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Different countries, different rules, different cultures, different expectations.
Hmm.
They're going to have to adapt if they want to succeed globally.
It's definitely not easy. But looking at their track record, they seem pretty resilient, pretty good at adapting.
They do, yeah. But let's be real, there could be some bumps in the road, too.
Like what?
Well, the economy is always a factor, right? If things slow down, people might cut back on spending, especially on, non-essentials.
Yeah, baby products could definitely take a hit.
And the competition is fierce, too. Not just from traditional stores, but from the online giants, too. They got to stand out somehow.
Right. Keep that brand strong, make shopping easy, and keep innovating. That's key.
Absolutely. So as we wrap this up, we've seen a company with amazing growth, big plans, and a real understanding of their market. But getting to that global leader position, it's not going to be a walk in the park.
For sure. It's a journey, and there will be challenges along the way, but it seems like they're ready for it.
Well, that's the thing about business, right? It's always evolving, always a challenge.
Exactly. So we hope our deep dive into Brainbees Solutions Ltd. gave you some good insights into this whole world of baby products and e-commerce. It's more complex and fascinating than you might think.
Yeah. And hopefully it's got you thinking about the future of all this. What trends are going to shape the baby and kids market next? How's tech going to change how parents shop? It's pretty exciting to think about.
Definitely. So keep exploring, keep learning, and keep asking questions. Because in business, just like in life, that journey of discovery, it never really ends.